Hello and welcome to Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition. Each month, Macon-Bibb County Mayor Lester Miller sits down with us to answer your questions and those of others in our community. Thank you so much for joining us, Mayor. You know, we're telling you today, hot off the press, that there was a news announcement just before we came on here. And because of the interest of melting, we thought we'd better go ahead and get that done first. Mr. Mayor, what's going on with the milkshakes and Zaxby's and Macon, Georgia?
Well, milkshake tourism is what we like to call it, thanks to my good friend Gary Wheat. You know, Macon's going to be the milkshake capital of the world starting today. You'll hear more about that throughout the day and throughout the week, so we're excited about it. Only offered in Macon in the Middle Georgia area, the heart of Georgia, so we're excited about having a chance to really show off our great city, all the iconic buildings we have here, the people we have here, and the tourism we have in Macon. So you'll see a lot more about that starting today, and it's really going to promote our city in a positive way.
So how did this come about?
Well, you know, we for the last 7 years, people have been reaching out to Zaxby's, and they've been really requesting the milkshakes. When are you going to bring them back? When are you going to bring them back? It became a very hot ticket item on there. So it generates enough interest to them that they wanted to look around the United States and see where their hot spots were. And Georgia was one of those. It got started in Georgia anyway. And then they looked at Middle Georgia and saw that Macon is in the center of everything, all the things that we have to offer. The southern charm of Macon, but also the heart of Georgia is one of our signs there. So they decided we also have about 20 Zaxby's in our area as well. So it's a great place to start it. We're excited about it. People have to come to this area to try one, and so far it's been a very good success.
Is it a pilot program for other places in the country? Because sometimes they float out new recipes in a small location, or is it just because?
Well, I think it's there's 4 flavors right now. So chocolate, strawberry, birthday cake, and vanilla. And some may consider it a test, pilot program. It's going to be expanded to other places, but it's going to be here for a year, only here in Middle Georgia for a year. So we're excited about that and about the publicity and the positivity it's going to bring for us.
Shaking things up in an election year, qualifying begins the first week in March for the county elections. There's a crowded field for sheriff, but so far we haven't really heard any official announcements about anyone running against you. So what are your plans for the next 4 years if you are reelected?
Well, we're going to continue to do the things that we've been focused on before. Certainly providing a safe environment for people to live and to work and to play. Continue with our blight program, economic development and jobs, and also making sure that our Macon violence prevention program is going to continue to do and be funded on that. So we have a lot of wonderful things to do, a lot of projects coming up. Excited about the East Bank project getting started very soon, and a lot more things happening around the downtown area. But the Cliffview Lake will be finished this year, and the Macon Mall Amphitheater is going to be opened up at the HM Amphitheater. Will be opening up in the next 3 weeks. So we have a lot going on. We're going to continue to do that. We're also going to continue to do what we can to be more efficient government and try to decrease the taxes for everyone.
Now, you recently off a meet and greet at the sheriff's office. What's on the minds of the people? I think you said you answered like nearly 36 questions.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people are engaged, and they wanted to hear from the mayor and commissioners on things that their questions they have. Most of the folks come with your typical questions about potholes and roads, and we let them know that, we got a SPLOST coming up, and we're prepared to put some substantial dollars in the SPLOST to make sure the roads are repaired properly. We've increased it by 5 times from previous, so that was on people's minds. There were some questions about the sheriff's department as well, and the sheriff was there to answer those questions and about pay and things of that nature. Also, there was questions about a blight program, whether we're going to continue to do that, about affordable housing, a couple questions on Medicaid expansion, and I told them basically that that's a question for those in Atlanta and for the governor, but I let them know that we've been working hand in hand with some of those officials because we believe it's an important issue for Macon, and they're going to have to set aside partisan politics and do what's right by the people.
Now, I know you were at the announcement when Mayor Pro Tem Seth Clark announced that he was running for re-election. Do you plan to campaign for other county commissioners, and how important is it to you to kind of know who you'll be dealing with over the next 4 years if you're re-elected?
Well, certainly you're only as good as your team is, and we've got a good team in place. So all those current incumbents that we work successfully with, we're going to continue to advocate for each and every one of them. There's some on the state level who will probably advocate as well because it basically helps Macon-Bibb County as a whole. And we want team partners, and Certainly Mayor Pro Tem's done a great job in his role in the last several years as a commissioner and also as an advocate there for the national park. I'm going to continue to help him and the other commissioners that are presently still on the commission. They're not term limited. So I'm going to use whatever influence I got, whether I have somebody run against me or not. I'm going to be out there making sure that our team is supported.
Now, also, one of your initiatives, the East Bank development over there off of the Coliseum Drive and the old Bibb Mill site. I understand there was a request for proposals, and there was a developer that responded. Do you have any updates on that project or anything that you can talk about that could be happening? Or
Well, we're moving forward. That's all I can say at this time. We still have to conduct some interviews and check a couple of boxes there. I do believe we'll be moving forward on that project very soon, and we'll announce the folks that may be handling that. But you got to understand there's multiple parts of that, including developers, designers. There's also public engagement that will be going into the community to make sure we get feedback from the public. And then you also have developers that are upper developers. So you have multiple parties there. It's not going to be a fast process, but I suspect between now and 12 months we'll have that a master plan ready to go on there and start some real talks about building some things there.
And it was billed as like between $300 and $400 million because it's expected to be a major residential, office, retail, hotel, whole complex over there.
It's every bit of $300 or $400 million. And the great part about it, we talked about, is in the tax allocation district there. So all the money that's raised there and the increase in value has to go to support infrastructure in East Macon.
Of course, that's kind of hand in hand with the proposal that is in Congress to make the national park there at the Ocmulgee Mounds. Any news on that front?
We expect the bill to drop any day, and certainly we're excited about that. I think we've got some good positive support on both sides. Our goal is to try to get that thing up there and get it prepared for a good positive vote before we start this election season. I don't think anybody's excited about.
I think it's started already, though.
But nobody's wanting to get tied up into the whole national scene for president and get some bad press on that. We want to go ahead and check that box and get things taken care of before that happens.
And of course, the amphitheater is going to be christened on March 24th with Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top. We have a question from Will Andrews wanting to know, number one, is it on track? And number two, will there be any kind of public open house or tours before it officially opens?
Well, first of all, we're on track. It's looking great out there. I think we're almost ready to open up. There's a few little boxes that have to be checked. We haven't received the keys to it yet, so we can't have any open houses, but I expect there will be some event that kind of test it out earlier perhaps. We'll do a public tour and all that probably after we do the first show. Between the other acts, I think it'd be proper to do that. We want to make sure we're ready. We've been meeting together with everyone on parking plans, with all type of security plans, ingress and egress, food service. I mean, it's been a long process, and I think we're gonna be ready to go come March 24th for sure.
Will also is asking about fire station number 8 that's over there on Mercer University Drive across over there by Bloomfield. He says it's an old station, it's difficult to get in and out. He wondered if anybody thought about turning the old Sears Auto Center into a fire station. Is there any plans to replace that building or anything in your?
Well, we've discussed some plans of having a sheriff and fire combo like we had at another place there, maybe use some East Plus money, even on the campus over at the mall. The old Sears area there would be perfect for a nice restaurant. I can envision having a New Way hot dog there and having maybe a Fincher's barbecue and a good pizza place all in one building. I talked to a couple of restaurateurs on that, and they've had some very good ideas. I think it's going to be an out parcel that may have places like that there as opposed to economic development and restaurant as opposed to having the fire station over there. But certainly we're going to take a look at all of our fire stations and our outdated buildings the next SPLOST, which is 2025.
Okay, well, when we come back, we'll be talking more about development around Macon Mall and issues with blight and litter. So stay with us. Thank you for staying with us for Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition. Now, before we went to break, we were talking a little bit about things going on around Macon Mall. I have another question, though. You have an agreement with Georgia Power, the county has, for them to provide a lot of the mechanical infrastructure for the developments out at the mall. And in the recent UDA meeting, Urban Development Authority, there was a little bit more, like a $1.1 million ad for that. And that, the money that you're contracting with Georgia Power will be paid back monthly over the utility bills. So how does that work, and what do you see as the benefits of contracting with them to do HVAC and things like that?
Well, number one, they have access to all the materials that we have and not have to worry about shortage of that. Number two, it keeps you from having to do a large expense at one time. You're able to finance over a period of years, and it gives you nice consistent payments so we can budget accordingly. So they've been a great partner to deal with. They also use local contractors here. They contract a lot with Allstate Electrical. They do a lot of their work over there. We've done the same thing at Auditorium, the amphitheater, and at the mall, so it's nothing unusual. It's a cost savings for us, upfront cost. Otherwise, we'd have to pay millions and millions of dollars up front as opposed to paying a monthly payment. So it's just a plan that they got, a program that they have there, and we took advantage of it, and I think it's one that we can use to be more efficient for us.
So that you were able to use the bond money to do more and not have to pay for that kind of equipment.
Exactly, or as costs go up, you can kind of just defray those costs for capital improvement by using this program they got.
I was talking to one of the security guards out at the mall who was early voting the other day at the new Board of Elections precinct. She was wondering, she says, there's a lot of people who come and walk in the mall, and everybody's wondering, can we get a coffee shop? She thinks too, with all of the people there with pickleball, there's not much in the food court right now. So do you have any plans or any recruitment going on to establish more of that as for the folks who are using the mall?
Yeah, we got a lot of plans, but we wanted to get the amphitheater pickleball open up. We want to have all of our Board of Elections and all the other 6 departments outside of them open in June. Once we get everything open there, you'll see a coffee shop or a kiosk, and you'll see some more restaurants there. Typically, your food courts in the malls are kind of a dying breed because they get a lot of their money for these national chains for drive-through. You don't have that in a food court. As you saw during COVID, if you were a place without a drive-through, you really struggled. And certainly people are working that into the equation. But we've had some interest there. I think we'll see that expanding. First thing we're going to do is move the Sheriff's Department down into the food court area there. Once we do that, we'll kind of build that out based on different types of varieties. Also, it can serve as a business incubator for a lot of entrepreneurs wanting to start a business. They could come through there, get their feet wet there inside the mall, and build up their clientele and either get a store outside of there, freestanding, or stay in the mall. But we're going to have to kind of develop that over a period of time. But I've seen during the pickleball tournaments that everything is selling well on the food court there, as well as Old Times and other restaurants that are doing well already because of the investments we made.
And also the courtrooms are finished. I know they were used for the poll workers to be trained for the election, the presidential preference primary. When do you think we'll see court in there? Have you heard anything from the judges about when that's actually going to be used as courtrooms?
Yeah, we got multiple ways to use that. Matter of fact, we may shoot some movies there. People are always looking for courtrooms to do that. That's another way to bring tourism, film industry into Macon-Bibb County to make some money off that, and actually to help the area as well. We probably will move part of our municipal court over there for traffic citations and things of that nature. We'll have some alternative dispute resolutions over there. Right now, we've got a checklist from the courts and from the Sheriff's Department on some things they'd like to see added to the mall courtrooms over there, so we're going to be working on that. Just simple things about linking some IT up and other things like that to make it more fluid. But yeah, we've done some training over there already. I expect maybe some moot court to happen over there for some of the high schools or even Mercer, so to take advantage of the space that we have there. So it's one of those places that we built it in case we need it, and I think you'll see it gradually kind of get into work with maybe a senior judge.
Okay. Along that Thomaston Road corridor, I spoke with Vernon, who works at Publix, and he said when he works late at night, he has to walk across the I-475 overpass there to get to the bus station, or a bus stop. And he's worried because there's no kind of fencing or anything along that sidewalk. Is that something that the new Transportation Safety Director, Weston Stroud, would be handling, or should he take his concerns to the Citizens Advisory Commission there for make an area transportation study, or how can he feel a little bit safer?
Yeah, I'm not sure what fencing has to do with being safe walking across a bridge. It's more so for the protection of the people that are driving underneath the bridge if it's just a bridge issue. Like, once again, that's a GDOT issue. GDOT owns that bridge. Certainly Weston Stroud can answer any questions, direct them in the right way, or maybe come up with a plan to handle that. But it's one of their deals. One thing we have done, and I'm pleased about it, is we have got GDOT, our own folks, and Macon Water Authority have worked to make sure that those bridges get swept a lot, to make them safe for travel, clean, and get rid of some of the debris. One of the initiatives I had here recently was to make sure that we don't overtake those by taking full responsibility for them, but worked out an agreement with GDOT that we do it multiple times a year as opposed to just one time a year, because you build up a lot of debris there, and it's the first thing that people see when they get off the interstate.
And also in the terms of blight, there was an appropriation, I think maybe $200,000 at the last commission meeting with the Meade Road Transfer Station to dispose of some of the blight demolition debris. Y'all also had a request for proposal for the county to build their own transfer station. What is the status of that?
It's just pending. We, as you recall, we did a moratorium on transfer stations and other type of disposals a while back. We've got a person that's going to do complete our solid waste plan that we're supposed to do. So we're going to make sure everything's incorporated in that and we do things the proper way. And certainly, we close our landfill. That's the reason we pay the money over there to the Meade Road, is because we have to have a place to dispose of it. And certainly we don't want to drive all the way to Warner Robins to do so. We drop it off there at the place on Meade Road, and they can take care of it. It saves time, it saves money on our tires and our fuel, and we get to do jobs in a quicker way.
And a lady left a message on my voicemail but didn't give her name. She wanted to know, there's an abandoned building at the corner of Napier and Log Cabin there. She says it's been vacant for years and years. She wanted to know if you knew of any plans to demolish that.
Well, certainly if it's an issue that needs to be taken care of, someone can go to code enforcement and let us know about the building. We do our inspections. Just because the building appears to be blighted or unused doesn't mean we get to go tear it down. It has to meet certain legal parameters, and that's called the nuisance per se. So if she would simply go on there to the code enforcement to report the building as a blighted building, they would go do the inspection. If it has a faulty roof, it's got people hanging out, criminal activity, if it's got missing doors or windows, it's something we can add to our list and send it to the owner, or perhaps start a case on that.
There was the Curtis Range Jr. Foundation, I remember, brought something before P&Z in 2020, and that was to build kind of like a medical facility there at the old Belle Arbor Nursing Home. And I think that they had plans to demolish that building and put the parking lot there, but I don't know what the status of that is, and you may not either.
Well, that plan hadn't really developed. As you may recall, Pastor Raines, Curtis Raines, passed away quite some time ago. His son, Bryant Raines, who was going to be part of that project, and his family, he passed away during COVID as well. So no one's really picked up the ball there to take it across the line.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk more about litter and other concerns you have in Macon. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us for Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition. At one of the last county commission meetings, there were some budgeting readjustments going on, including $9 million to pay down the debt service. I guess that's due in fiscal year 2025. What's your thinking on that?
Well, as you recall, back in 2021, when I first took office, we did the same thing then. It's kind of it's an accounting deal, but also we want to maintain our good bond rating. To do so, sometimes you go ahead and appropriate monies for future debt. When I got into office, of course, we inherited a lot of debt relating back to 2012, 2018 for previous projects, worthy projects, and not necessarily saying anything about that. But it's always been my goal to make sure that we try to do a balanced budget without having to dip into reserves. This gives us an opportunity, once we go through the process for half the year, to see where our finances are. We can kind of pre-fund that debt for the next year, so it doesn't have to be designated as debt when you do your budget there. Believe it or not, it's just an accounting deal that helps out a lot of our bond ratings to make sure we got funds there, and it helps us to better budget everything. Worked out really well, been able to do good positive balances throughout the year and maintain those. As you recall, back when they shut the libraries down, Macon-Bibb County got down to about $4 million. So we've done a lot better since then, and these types of things are accounting and just recommendations for people who do audits, and our financial advisors is just accepting their recommendations.
A neighboring county newspaper column was questioning the amount of spending going on and whether you're going to be able to sustain that going forward. How do you respond to that?
I don't respond, especially if it comes out of Monroe County Reporter, but I did get a good laugh out of it. So no, I'll be honestly, the facts in there are just not correct. We don't use OLOS money to go out and buy buildings. We use it to roll back taxes, we use it for our public safety incentive, but we don't buy anything. We don't expect a good return on investment. I think it's a great investment to spend $1 million over in Pleasant Hill, because we have a $20 million project going to be there. It's going to pay taxes, going to provide affordable housing for about 70 folks there, or 70 families there. Going to have a food co-op, and have a gymnasium there. We're going to sell part of the property. It's a win-win. Same thing for the Hilton Hotel.
I was noticing down Walnut Street, it seems like some of those houses are being refurbished there, so maybe that will kind of spur. Do you know what's going on, just thought about it, with the Walnut Street Bridge area? It seems like construction is kind of halted there. Do you have any intel from GDOT about what's happening?
It's just process. They got all the, they got everything scheduled out. Sometimes other jobs get finished early or late, so they just kind of do that. I quit, worrying about what GDOT does over there. They got their own time schedule, and they're going to do it successfully, and they're going to complete it when they get completed. But we tell them if there's issues there, and we try to take care of that. But that's going to be a nice area come through there. I mentioned the Hilton Hotel, the same thing there. We don't go out and invest $4.8 million in buying a hotel to tear it down if it's not going to create more investment for us in the future. And eliminating that project is going to probably spur about $30–40 million investment, and we're going to get all that money back plus some. So the naysayers are going to keep talking about that, but like I said, we live in Bibb County. That's where I live at. That's the people I represent. And we're going to take care of our business here and let other people take care of their business in their own county.
Now, Chad Davis says he's not taking a shot at you or the county leaders, but he wants to know what's being done about the homeless population. And he sees the camps like from Spring Street to Carolyn Creighton Park. And I understand that, y'all are going to buy the lots up there at Walnut Street where there's some encampments going on. So what is actually happening?
Well, better direct that question to someone like Jake Hall, who's become our resident expert on that. We're going through our process to do a continuum of care, which is going to take care of that. The reason you're seeing them now, like we talked about before, is just all the habitat and all the vegetation has been taken care of with the interstate, so they're more visible. But at the same time, we wanted to count each and every person in these encampments and that, so we didn't want to disperse them when we had them all together in a particular location. You'll see some activity on that of moving them into residences and also clearing those encampments and clearing the area because it's not a healthy environment for them. It's just something we're going to have to deal with. We're always going to have those situations in Macon-Bibb County we have to deal with. We're on a river, railroad, and a middle interstate. So it's a challenge we're always going to have, but we're doing it in a very compassionate way, and we're going to do it in a very efficient way. So I think you'll see some action on that soon. And that is one of the reasons we bought the property there. We can clear out that vegetation there. We can control the environment, put fencing up, and make that a good place to go to at Carolyn Creighton Park.
Garrett Thompson said that he took a wrong turn and found like all bunches of illegal dumping over off of Churchill Street. And so he's taken upon himself with some young students from Middle Georgia State and some faculty, and he's cleaning up a lot of these illegal dump sites, worked with J.T. Ricketson. So what is going on that people are still illegal dumping, even though there's places for them to take?
Laziness, disrespect for the neighborhoods. Quite honestly, the legal dump's down almost more than 60–70% than it was when we started this program 3 years ago. Still going to have them. We've had some that dump right around from a convenience center and simply just go over there. A lot of folks go get paid to deliver those things to a landfill, and they drop them off in our county. A lot of them are not from Bibb County. A lot of people we prosecuted or went after, they're from our bordering county. So.
Well, thank you for staying with us, and remember, send your questions for the next Ask Mayor Miller to mercerccj@gmail.com, and we'll get you some answers the next time we meet. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.